Hey everybody. I haven't heard from TJ after he gave me a thumbs up when I sent him the link. So um I don't know if he's maybe having some technical issues or um let me check something real quick here. Okay. Well, he hasn't sent me a message saying he couldn't get on or anything like that. So hey, Blissful. Hey, Rooster. Hey, Russell. Um, I guess I will go ahead. There he is. I was a little worried about him there. I thought, well, maybe that link didn't work or something, but he probably didn't want to be here for my long ass intro into this. I'm just teasing you, TJ. He's Mr. Ghoul host tonight. And so I do have a couple of things I wanted to show for Daily Grindhouse. I know I haven't done the Daily Grindhouse for a little bit. So we're going to kick off this intro. I'm going to show these things and then I'm going to add TJ so we can talk about all six of the episodes from the first season of Tales from the Crypt. All right, so here we go. All right. And guys and gals, I know I don't have my hat on right now, but for one thing, I've been sneezing my crazy head off all evening so far. So don't know if it's a cold, don't know what it is, don't know if it's allergy sinuses or whatever, but I was afraid I would start sneezing again and sneeze my hat off, actually. So that's one big reason why I don't have it on. But what did I get in the last couple of days? Um, I did get the Halloween H2O Steelbook, but I'll show you guys this. I hope nobody else's came like this. You see how it looks misshapen, the outer slip cover? Um, yeah, I don't know what exactly they did to it, but they didn't put it together right. But this is what it looks like without the slip cover. Um, I'd already heard that I think Super Batman Nerd was saying something about CK had already done like a review of it, and I don't know if CK was complaining that it was too expensive and didn't really have any extras on it or anything, or it was he was talking about it and Super Batman Nerd thought it was too expensive for that. Or maybe a little bit of both. But I haven't watched it yet, but I'm eagerly looking forward to watching the 4K of it. So the other 4K I got in was The Exorcist. Haven't had a chance to watch this one yet either, but I may take a peek at it after me and TJ get done with talking about these episodes. Um, but I really wanted a chance to hear the Dolby Atmos or Atmos, however you pronounce it. And I won't get to do that until Steve's awake because if I try to do this and listen to it in all its glory, he's going to get up and may take my disc and throw it out the door. And TJ, before you come on here, I'm just going to tell you, Blissful is going to be thrilled because she wanted the gloves to return, and the gloves have returned. He's taking them off. Now, TJ. I think he's just kidding around. Maybe he'll put them back on when I get him on here. So I'm getting ready to add him. So, Blissful, I'm sorry you didn't get to see those backstage like I did. Maybe TJ will put them back on, but I'm going to add him here. Hey, TJ.
Hey Dana, how's it going?
Good. Except I've been sneezing
Yeah.
all evening. Don't know what that's all about, but anyways, as long as I'm not getting sick, I'm fine. I'll deal with allergies and sinuses. And I see TJ's got his Tales from the Crypt shirt on there.
That's the real Crypt Keeper. That's not the
Yeah, that's not this guy
nah.
from the HBO series. Yeah, that's the guy from the original EC comics, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Um, and I used to read those, but they were reprints. I didn't get the original ones. Yeah.
I think this is a reprint. And then I got a couple of the bigger one. There we
Mm.
go. The, oh,
How long ago did you get those, TJ? Because they look in
oh, they
excellent
came out.
shape.
What's the release date on these things? Let's see. Well, 52 is the original reprint. 86. No, I didn't get them from 1986. I don't think it was that, but like probably around late 80s, early 90s. I got these.
Yeah, I think that's about when I got the ones I had, and I may still have them somewhere. I'm just not. They're either here at this house somewhere, or they're at my mom and dad's house somewhere in a closet somewhere or something. But I
Years ago,
used
they
to
did
love those.
reprints of all the issues, but they were color covers, but they were in black and white. The rest of it, and then
Oh yeah.
I think in the 80s and 90s they started releasing like these reprints. And
Hmm.
I think they might have also released a box set of all color, and they found, but I don't, those were hundreds of dollars, and they probably are thousands, if not more nowadays. But
But Blissful says she thinks I'm allergic to Steve.
you would have known that a long time ago. I guess they have onset allergies that happen.
And she's also pouting because you took your gloves off, TJ.
When October starts, I'll put the gloves back on. That
There
way
you go,
you can't
Blissful.
go, oh, why are you wearing those? It's weird.
Well, we don't think it's weird in here. We
Yeah.
think they're cool.
Well, we'll see who visits the chat.
Russell says Tales from the Crypt is a British classic film. It is a classic film. I really, really like it. I think Steve may have a Blu ray of it. If not a Blu ray, he's got a DVD definitely of it. But so we're going to go ahead and get started with. We only have 6 episodes to cover. And I really don't think this is like I think there at the end was Friday the 13th, the series. It was getting really painful for me and TJ to get through. That third season was about to do us in, I think. Um,
Well, we don't have to worry about characters leaving and coming back. There's only one uh,
right.
crypt keeper we have to worry about.
Yeah, they didn't replace the Crypt Keeper.
He's
Uh,
still doing. When he's at a convention, he usually does like the voices. You can hear him on like intercoms, and they have him do like
yeah.
the whatever. What's coming up next, kiddies? you know.
I think I've been at a convention or two where he was actually doing the announcements, which is cool, but some people might find it a little annoying or something to hear John. How do you pronounce his name? Is it Kaiser?
I think it's Seer.
Kassir?
Yeah,
Okay.
something weird.
Um, so let's go ahead and kick this one off with the man who was death, which I think is interesting because Bill Sadler or William Sadler is like the main guy in this one, in this story.
Yeah.
And it has to do with prisons and it has to do with uh, putting people in the electric chair and stuff like that, which is interesting because a few years later, what was Bill Sadler going to be in? He was going to be in the Shawshank Redemption, which he played a prisoner uh, in that movie, which very good Stephen King adaptation. That and The Green Mile are two
Hmm.
great ones, I think. Um, but we're going to have some of these screenplays, not this one, but there's a two or three maybe screenplays done by Fred Decker, who people that are fans of Night of the Creeps and Monster Squad, I
Hmm.
believe, will find that name very familiar. So I'm going to go ahead and let TJ, because he's always my guest on here, to talk about the man who was death a little bit.
This was well, technically they released the first three episodes together as like a movie. They had
Hmm.
the beginning and the all the Crypt Keeper beginnings and endings, but so technically, I guess all three of them are the first episodes. Technically, I guess you could say. Um, and all through the house, they had already done in the 1972
Yep.
Tales from the Crypt with what's her face, British, um,
Oh,
Joan Collins.
yeah. I was going to say Joan Collins, but I wasn't 100% sure on
Yeah, I
that.
can't remember the actual. Well, we'll get to it when we get to it. We'll just do the man who was dead first. So we first have directed by Walter Hill.
Hmm.
Streets of Fire, 48 Hours. Um, did he direct The Warriors? I think he directed, right? Yeah. Uh,
That seems right.
um, yeah, there's a lot of a lot of big producers back in the day were involved with this show. Zemeckis and Richard Donner. Yeah, so there were a lot
Yeah.
of big names involved with this whole series.
Yeah, a lot of big names associated
I
with
don't think
this
they do
show.
that like this anymore. It's usually some schlub producers who you never heard of putting
Right.
putting a show together. Um, so it's about this. William Sadler plays Niles Talbot, and Niles works at the prison where he worked his way up. I forget, he was like a janitor or something, or doing odd things around
I
the
thought
prison.
he said something about being an electrician or something
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
then they moved him up to like electrocuting people.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that in real life.
Nah, I highly doubt it.
I think the death penalty was a big thing in the like late '80s and everything. I
Mhm.
don't know how it was when the original story came out because it was in the Crypt of Terror 17. I don't know, 1950, 1950? Yeah, 1950. I don't know how things were with the death penalty back then, but then again, they also probably updated the story for the current time that it was out. Um, so anyway, and he does it's a lot of narration in this. There's a lot of talking in this in
Yeah,
between the action.
a lot of breaking the fourth wall and
Yeah, the
stuff
whole
like that.
he's speaking in like first person. He's explaining his life basically
Yep.
up until the end. Spoiler: he doesn't make it through the end. But then all
Yep.
these Tales from the Crypt episodes are sort of a come up in kind of creep show Tales from
Right.
the Side, whatever. Where though some of these people aren't necessarily bad in some of these stories, especially the last one. I don't know if the guy was that bad, but anyway. Um, so he ends up
Oh,
getting.
I don't know about that, TJ. We'll get to
Well,
that.
we'll discuss how we feel about the guy. So he's a the state decides they're going to stop the death penalty. Um, he gets fired, and he's like, "Well, why can't I go back to my old job?" He's like, "Well, all the prisoners and everybody, you killed all these prisoners, and they're not going to be too kind to you since you killed a lot of their own people." Also, through the episode, he seems like level-headed, but he's a
Hmm.
little bit of a racist. And, I guess if you could say a little bit of a racist, but he makes a joke which I'm not going to repeat.
Right. Yep. I
um,
remember that.
about, electrocuting people, and uh, there's a point where so he decides to become Charles Bronson. He becomes a vigilante and he starts killing people who should have gotten sentences or got the death penalty. They got off
Hmm.
for whatever. There's a I forget the first person he kills was, who the hell is the first person he kills? He kills.
Oh, didn't he kill? He killed some woman's brother or something, and I thought the guy that got
The
off.
biker.
Yeah, he was a
The first
biker,
person he killed.
but didn't he say something about her brother being gay or something like that? I thought there was some real quick thing.
I don't remember
I'm not
that.
going to repeat the exact word that he
No,
said.
don't do that. But the first person he kills is the biker. The biker gets off of
Yeah,
murder.
right.
Um, he's sitting in. I guess you could do that back in the day. You could sit in on a trial in the audience. I guess I don't know if that's just poetic license or not. Um, so yeah, so he kills he kills a biker. Then he kills this couple who this guy was him and his girlfriend kill his wife for her money. One of the guy is played by Garrett Graham
Yeah.
from Chopping Mall and Phantom of the Paradise and Bud the Chud.
Child's Play too.
That's right. Um, Him and his girlfriend get killed in the bathtub. So he's an electrician. So he's set up these elaborate traps. It's kind of a Saw thing if you look at it. Like
Yeah.
he electrocutes the biker on a fence, and then he electrocutes the couple in their bathtub. And it's like, how do they set these things up? How do they get the time? And then he tries to kill this stripper who she's another one who got off for some crime, and so he goes to the strip club, and this is where we get if you guys are looking for some nudity. This is some
Yeah, some
nudity.
TNA, you'll get it here.
Yeah, yeah. And so he's about to. He has some elaborate setup where she's in one of those cages, dancing in the cages, and he's
Mhm.
about to electrocute her, and his little device isn't working because the cops somehow knew it was him and that he had set up to kill this girl. I'm like,
Yeah, I don't know how they knew that.
now,
That
this is
was
my
kind
opinion.
of
This isn't the actual part of the story, but I'm like, I know it's supposed to be. It's a short episode, and it's only you're not supposed to get too into it. But I'm like, how did they figure this out? And it took them this long to figure it out. He's killed a bunch of people already. I mean, like, anyway. So he ends up getting caught before he kills her, um, and we get that comeuppance irony where he gets the death penalty because hey, guess what? The state all of a sudden, right as he's murdering people, decides we're going to put the death penalty
we're
back.
gonna reinstate it now.
Yeah,
And guess who's crying like a baby
yeah.
now?
This is parts of his voiceover. He says things like he talks about how debt's a thing and you should just embrace it and he's very like I don't know people like he was like yeah when people are whining and screaming and calling for the governor when they're on the electric chair and they should just deal with it and he's like I look in their eyes and most people
Yeah,
don't want to do that they don't want to look in someone's eyes right before they're about to be killed and of course the irony is at the end of the episode he's crying he's calling for the governor and then
yeah,
the new guy they have as the executioner he does the thing where he looks at him stares in his eyes and is like okay
yeah,
so he kind of gets his own medicine and yeah and the ending voiceover is him being optimistic like but he's doesn't know he's dead so I'm like so I guess he's not at first I was thinking he was like talking from the grave but I guess he's like you said, it's the fourth wall, so he's just
right.
explaining what he's doing during the thing. Yeah, this episode's very dark. All the other episodes, even the All Through the House has some light, has a little bit of comedy here and there. Actually,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny. Actually, I was laughing watching the whole thing.
It is. I mean, and when Larry Drake shows up, you can't. I mean, even though he's supposed to be scary,
Yeah,
I can't help but laugh.
But anyway, yeah, this episode is like it looks very comic booky. The shots are very set up where it looks like drawings.
Mhm.
Not that it looks fake, but it looks like a comic book setup. It kind of looks
Right.
like a panel. There's even like it's even framed like panels.
Mhm.
So I think this is a great episode for the first episode because it's got some comedy in it, like controversial '80s late '80s comedy, but
The
it's
stuff we wouldn't get now.
yeah, but it's like it's sprinkled. It's like salt. It's not like
Mhm.
a big helping of comedy. This is just a little bit. So it's kind of showing you what it's gonna be, but and then you also have obviously you have the Crypt Keeper and his little intros and outros.
Yeah, which I remember being so excited when Tales from the Crypt started coming on. I was like, "Ooh, cool! Another horror anthology show."
Yeah,
That's what
I
I
just
was
want to
thinking.
read some of the Crypt Keeper's comments. Like one of his opening comments is he likes to kill human pests and he does it in front of an audience. Now
Yeah,
that's entertainment. And then one of the ending comments, he's um, uh, what's the oh yeah, he does really bad. He's like um, Talbot gets Talbot got too caught up in his work. Don't worry though, I'm sure he never knew what hit him.
right. Bad jokes all over the
So
place, but
remember, boys and girls, safety first. Yeah. So,
TJ does a good Crypt Keeper impression, I think.
yeah, if they ever fire, like at a convention, they want me to do the voice, I'll do it for them. I'll half price.
Half price. You ain't gonna do it for free though, are you, TJ?
No, I need money.
Money's too hard to come by. We can't be doing this stuff for free.
No.
So, did you like this episode?
Yeah, like I said, it's a great first episode. This is one of those shows where you're gonna go, well, you're gonna watch this episode and season two, and it's the third episode, and blah, blah, this is like right off the bat. It's
Right. Yeah, you don't have to dig in to. I mean, there's only 6 episodes, but
yeah,
you don't have to just keep digging to find a great episode. Right out of the door. They've got this really good, albeit it was dark, but I think Bill Sadler is great in it. I think he was probably the perfect person to play this part,
mhm,
and he pretty much, in my opinion, carried that episode because he had to. I mean, he was the
yeah.
one that saw the most of it. If they hadn't picked a great actor like him, I don't think that the episode would have been nearly as good, but I did like it, and I was surprised at how I don't know if it was just that it was that short or it was that good that it didn't seem like a long episode.
Yeah, the first season, the episodes are like 27 minutes, something like that, or
Mm,
um, but yeah, and the opening theme by Danny Elfman.
yes, does an excellent job.
Yeah, it's a very memorable theme.
So I guess we'll move on to An Alter the House, which is an episode that I can watch anytime. But when I start getting my Christmas stuff out, like my Christmas horror stuff, I definitely pull out the first season of Tales from the Crypt and make sure I watch and also the house. So it was fun to go back and watch this one
Hmm.
again. And, instead of waiting till Christmas to do it,
Yeah,
I'm getting to watch it before Halloween. So I thought that was a treat for me. Not that anybody's holding a gun to my head saying, "No, no, no, now you can't watch this till Christmas time," but it just seems like a more Christmas holiday oriented thing because you've got the Christmas music, you've got the Christmas decorations and the tree
yeah,
and all of that stuff. Um, this one was actually directed by Robert Zemeckis, and the
yeah.
screenplay was by Fred Decker. Um, So I'm going to again turn it over to TJ so he can give us the lowdown on and also the house.
So there's, like I said, it starts off with the Christmas music. It sort of lulls you into a false sense of what's going to happen next. I got to talk about the Crypt Keeper. So he introduces the episode, and he's got a Santa Claus outfit on. And he's got a Santa Claus mask over his. I guess it's a mask over his animatronic face. I guess, or it's just a mask on a head. I don't know, but it seems to move and stuff. So I'm gonna guess it's a.
Yeah.
I
And
would say
it's kind of creepy
it's
looking,
creepy.
I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's the Tales from the Crypt, the movie version of this episode, and the Santa is a very creepy face, and this sort of face kind of reminds me of Muppet a little bit.
Right.
Just sort of like it just looks crazy, like you know. And of course, he starts off with "Ho Ho Ho" kitties and "It's Crypt Keeper" with a little holiday fun. And I like how he goes into this. He starts talking. So he says, "So get a gander of a Yuletide Yelp yarn that goes a little something like this. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house." So you get the title in there, which is good.
Hmm.
So yeah, it starts off with the Christmas music. His wife is walking around. She looks like she's about to stoke the fire. She doesn't seem to be too happy with her husband. I forget what the dialogue is. He says something.
He's he says something about did you did you get the something about the fireplace poker, and she says yes, and he says, well, why don't you let me have it or something
That's
like
what he
that.
says. And she goes, "What did you?" And she's very like, "What did you say?"
Hmm.
I said, "Let me have it," and then she hits him in the head with the fire
Yeah.
poker. So it's a comedy right off the bat. It's got its moments of like horror, like, but it's a lot of funny because so she kills her husband. She's gonna dump the body into the well. I guess she has a well on her property, which is like everybody has that, I guess. She's gonna throw the body into the well. Um, Meanwhile, she's dragging the body out. You hear on the radio, "There's a killer Santa on the loose.
Mhm.
The guy dresses Santa Claus and he's killing people." Blah blah blah. And she doesn't hear it because she's too busy taking care of her. Um, it's her second husband.
Right.
We learned that because right as she kills him, the daughter, little Cindy Lou daughter comes downstairs, and she's like, "Mommy, Santa Claus! I want to see Santa Claus." Like, "No, honey, you have to go to bed." And she's about to go to bed, and she's like, "Good night," whatever
Joseph, I think.
yeah, "Good night, Joseph." It sounds like sort of like Andy does. "Good night, Aunt Maggie," that kind of voice.
Yeah.
Um, and she's okay. I mean, the little kid in the movie version, the
Hmm.
British version, that little British girl that voice. Oh, I want to stab her in the head. Anyway, so she sends her up to bed, tucks her in the bed, um, and she's just like, "Oh, I want this for Christmas," and then she goes, "What do you want for Christmas, Mommy?" And then she does, "I already got it, sweetheart,"
Yeah.
because this is not a subtle episode either.
No, it's almost like overacting all over the place.
Yeah, but I think it's an enhanced. It's
Hmm.
supposed to be like it's not
Yeah.
too bad, like, but I guess it's supposed to be campy. I mean, it's Zemeckis is sort of the comedy.
Yeah, he's a more lighthearted type of
Back to the
director.
Future is very comedic and anyway, so she goes to drag the body outside, throw it in the well. She's like, she thinks she hears something. We get a jump scare with the Santa Claus is right behind. Oh no, I'm sorry. He's not dead yet. She's about to
Right.
pick him up and throw him in, and we find out she's not dead. He's not dead. He grabs her by the neck, and there's a struggle, and he ends up falling dead finally. Then she's like, she's trying to throw him in there, and then she thinks she hears something, and then we get the second jump scare, which is Santa Claus is right behind her.
Yep.
Um, he does a lot of like he does a lot of like noises. He doesn't say a word through the whole episode. And he's very. I always thought that guy was creepy. That actor was. He's always.
Doesn't he does say something at the very end, doesn't he?
Does he say Merry Christmas or something?
Yeah, something like that. I was
Yeah,
pretty sure, but that's about the only thing he says.
yeah, um, yeah. Larry Drake's very. I don't know. He could be scary. That's for sure. Um, yeah. So he ends up getting knocked out. She thinks he's out. I don't know if she thinks he's dead, but she thinks he's knocked out. Um, she's she tries to call the cops, and um, I think she
Yeah,
gets on once, and then she calls back. Right? Isn't that what happens?
well, I think she freaks out because she thinks, "Oh, I just killed my husband."
Yeah, his body's just laying out there. She didn't get
Yeah,
a chance to hide the body yet.
right,
See, I'll keep going back to the movie version. In the movie version, she has a plan.
right.
She pretends that he fell down the stairs and knocked and hit his head, and um, Joe Collins, her character seems more together. Like she seems to know exactly what she's doing until the
Hmm.
Santa Claus screws things up. Because she's like, she throws him down the stairs, and then she's like, "Oh, I need some blood." So she goes back upstairs to where she killed him originally. She gets a little champagne flute, and she puts
Hmm.
the blood in it, and she takes it downstairs and she pours it just right. I don't know if she knows the right pattern for somebody who falls down the stairs.
Right.
Um, so yeah, she seems to have a better plan than. By the way, the wife is played by Mary Ellen Trainor from
Hmm.
uh, Monster Squad and 48 Hours, and
And the husband is played by Marshall Bell, who,
you don't see him that much. You see him a couple times.
yeah, but he's also been in Stand By Me. He played Gordy's dad. He was the gym teacher on Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
He's the guy in Total Recall who has the creature in his stomach. He's
That's
that guy.
right.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stars in this. Like if you're 80s and 90s movie fan, you've probably seen a lot of these people either on TV or in the movies. More so than like Tales from the Dark Side. Like you'd see a lot of people, but for a lot of times they have these one-time actors who've never been in anything
Hmm.
or only been in one thing. But yeah, these seem to have some pretty seasoned actors in all these episodes. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that happens in this. For a short episode, a lot happens with the wife, the mother,
Yep.
and whatever. Um, yeah, there's a point where was a Santa breaks through like the window or something, and then that's when she knocks him out
Hmm.
with the axe that I guess they is it they both have axes? Yeah, because he has an axe and she has an axe. Um, I wonder if the Silent Night Deadly Night, but then again, I wonder if Silent Night Deadly Night took from the original EC comic or not.
Yeah,
It's a kill with
that's
an
a
axe.
possibility. Yeah.
It seems like yeah. So yeah, so she knocks him out, and then she's like looking through the little broken piece in the shutter, and she's like kind of looking, and he's out, and then she's like calling the cops, and then she realizes, oh yeah, my husband's still kind of out there, and yeah. So she figures, okay, Santa's unconscious. She's gonna make it look like she goes, I got it. I didn't kill him, officer. Santa killed
Santa.
my husband. She does this whole episode. Uh, But she's good because she goes from being like just playing the character straight, and then she goes
Hmm.
into these, I guess you say, campy like moments with her character. So
Right.
she also you get to see she's usually playing somebody's mother. So to play sort of a evil character. That's like Dee Wallace when like the Frighteners and
Hmm.
even if you don't like Lords of Salem, she's a villain in that one. Spoiler, sorry. I know I say spoiler after I spoiled it, but whatever. That movie's been out for
That's
10
all right.
years.
Yeah, that movie's been out a while. If you
If you
ain't
haven't seen
seen
it
it,
by now, screw you. That's not my fault. Uh, uh, so she decides to take Santa's axe and she's gonna plant it in her husband's head to make it look like Santa Claus did it. So, but she, at the first couple of times, she can't look. So she lifts
yeah.
up the axe, closes her eyes,
So
comes
she
down,
keeps
looks,
missing.
it's at the side of his head. She does it again, other side of his head. She finally is like, okay, I'm gonna look, and then she finally gets him right in the sweet spot. Um, and of course, we find out Santa's, and then she goes back into the house trying to, call the cops. Santa's not dead. Um, oh, I forgot earlier. She had her daughter didn't like thought it was kind of warm in the house, so she opened the window a little bit. So anyway, go back to where I was saying before, where Santa she realizes Santa's actually he's not dead, and he's trying to climb up I guess there's a trellis or something like that. He's
Mhm.
trying to climb up to the daughter's window, and the wife she's trapped in like some room or something like that, what is she trapped in?
Is she in the closet?
Maybe it's a closet. Okay, yeah, I forget how she got stuck in the closet.
I thought she was going to get Joseph's gun.
That's right. She's like,
Mm,
they on the phone. They're like, "Do you have anything to defend yourself?" And she's like, "Joseph's gun." Yeah,
mm.
you're right. See, glad you're here. Uh,
I did actually watch the episodes this time. I didn't just skim them.
I won't say I'm shocked because I'm
Mm.
not. Anyway, anyway, yeah. So she's like, yeah. So she's trapped, and she realizes Santa's trying to. She's like, Susie, whatever the daughter's name is. It Susie? Carrie's window.
Scary.
Carrie's window. I gotta go. So um, she finally gets out. She thinks everything's okay, but nope. The daughter's like, "Mommy, it's Santa. He's here. I let him in."
Hmm.
And then she kind of pulls him out like he's like holding her hand, and he's like behind the wall, and then she pulls it right. Or am I thinking of the original one? No, yeah, the same thing happens, right? Yeah,
She kind of guides him out there. Yeah.
yeah. And she starts screaming her head off. Oh no, no, no! And that's the end of the episode.
And what I was thinking about the little girl, Carrie, she must not get out much if she didn't think that there was something weird about this guy.
I know it's even in the original, it's like the simplicity of the child's mind that they just see Santa and they're like, oh, they're excited to see Santa. They don't even think it's not a person they should let in the house or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he looked dirty and bloody, and besides that, his face was crazy, and yeah,
And the
I
crypt,
wouldn't have let him in, but
yeah, the crypt keeper's voiceover at the end is like, well, so it ends with her screaming, and he's like, how was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?
yeah, the crypt keeper's always got to get in one last little zinger there at the
He's like,
end.
don't worry about little Carrie. Santa preferred older women. In pieces, that is.
But this is an episode I really, 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 really like. And like I said, I could watch it anytime, but I definitely watch it every year around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing about my mom. When I talk about watching Christmas horror movies or Christmas horror television shows, she's like, "Oh, Dana, like I'm some weirdo or something for watching that
Yeah.
around Christmas time." But it might be blasphemous to some people to do that. But if you like horror movies, I would think most people that like horror movies would do that. But
Yeah.
whether they're, religiously inclined or not. But anyway, I like the episode. Highly recommend it.
It's very
Uh,
funny. Like when he falls, he goes oof, and then you hear like the sound effects. So it's very like a little bit Looney Tunes going on there.
just a little bit, just slightly.
By the way,
So,
for an episode of Tales from the Crypt, this was in the Vault of Horror version.
Yes.
If anybody cares, it's Vault of Horror number 35.
So
Uh,
pull out your Vault of Horror number
1954.
35.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the date was. I think it was like came out around March, so it's weird that they did a Christmas.
Yeah.
But then I don't know when they released each comic book, so maybe it just fell. Like maybe they don't do it. Maybe they actually take
Yeah, I don't know if they were like every other month or like
yeah
some things are every 4 months or something like that. Or
quarter sometimes a comic book. Sometimes.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was all through the house.
So the next one, Dig That Cat, he's real gone, which I think TJ already said that he liked the title of this.
It's very
uh,
Daddy-O.
it's this one is directed by Richard Donner.
Mhm.
Um, and it has Joey Pants on it. It's pretty much starring Joey Pants, so you get
Yeah.
to see a whole lot of him
And
in this.
Robert Wall,
Yeah, exactly.
which Robert Wall was a big HBO guy. Like he did Our List was like his a big hit show in on it was I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, or was it all the 90s? I can't remember when Our List came out. He played a sports agent.
I remember that show being on,
Mm.
but I don't think I ever really watched it. I just remember the title. But
But yeah,
so I'm gonna turn over to TJ because I was this one of your favorite episodes, TJ, or did you just like the title?
I mean I don't know favorite episode.
Mm,
I usually like the more gory. This is another comedy.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of comedy in this one.
It's very heightened. Yeah, heightened sense around the whole thing. But it's another voiceover one too, where it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it starts off with Joe, who plays Ulrich the what the hell is it? Ulrich the not magnificent. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Daggone.
The Undying Ulrich the Undying. That's his.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So he's laying in a coffin. And he's explaining his story up until the point where he's in the coffin. So
Right.
yeah, I'm sorry, you didn't do your little introduction.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I kinda did. I
Okay,
kinda did. You go ahead.
all right. Um, yeah, so he plays sort of this bum. Literally, he's on the street drunk. Um, this weird scientist, German, weird German scientist, very what is it, the human centipede type of German weird scientist. Um,
I'm gonna answer Wes here real quick because no, we didn't talk about that. He says, "Did y'all talk about the series being shot on film but edited on tape so it can never be remastered unless they spend a fuckload of money?"
well,
Well, if even if they can't, I've still got my DVDs and I can still go back and watch it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if the DVD qualities are terrible. I mean, they seem I think they're better than these other shows.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
Definitely better than Tales from the Dark Side. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, everything that's shot that's edited on video just you can't do anything about them. I mean, no one's gonna spend the time, especially if there's like I don't even remember. I think Tales from the Crypt it went from 89 to 96.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever see the cartoon, the Tales from the Crypt Keeper?
Oh yes, I didn't I come on Saturday mornings
Yeah, yeah.
for a time.
I read that they actually got like child psychologists to help with the scripts because they wanted to make sure they weren't too scary for children because there was no blood, there was no
Right.
probably. I don't think there were murders and shit. I think it was just
No, I think it was mainly the crypt keeper doing his stick, I guess, but it was definitely geared towards kids instead of being geared towards, adults pretty much like the HBO series was.
Yeah, and then they brought it back for like they had it was in '93. It was only lasted for a season maybe, and then they brought it back in '99 for a few episodes. Yeah, they. Oh, by the way, the series started off as Crime Patrol. It wasn't even a horror. I mean, it had sort of crime stories, so I guess it
Hmm.
was horror adjacent. Like the first one's not. I mean, yeah, it's horror, but it's more like a guy being a vigilante. It's more of a thriller, I think. This
Right.
one too is. I think it's more of a. Though I guess the horror element, it's sci-fi too. This is very like. There's a lot of stuff in this one episode. It's very sci-fi horror thriller. Um, so yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Ulrich he meets this guy and he's like, okay, I'm gonna implant this gland from a cat and it will give you multiple lives.
Hmm.
And um, he's not too sure about it, but the guy's like, yeah, he'll give you money so you can buy more booze, so you can drink more. And he's like, okay, then sure, sounds good to me.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah, but put a cat gland in me.
So they kill this cat and they put the gland in, and remember they killed this cat. That's gonna come up later. Um, so he gets the thing put in, like it's somewhere in his brain. His head's sort of bleeding or whatever. Is it? Oh, wait a minute. No. In the back of his neck. That's where it is.
Right.
Um, so he's like, well, how do I know if I have 9 lives? The guy's like, I can. I'm not gonna do a German accent. I'm not gonna try that. Uh, so he pulls out a pistol and shoots him in the head,
Yeah.
and he comes back, and he's like, what happened? It's like, it worked. Did it work? I was like, yes, I just killed you. So, and he's like, well, great. Now, what do I do with this? He's like, so the scientist dude is like, I have an idea. We can try to make some money off of this, and it'll fund my research, and it'll give you more booze. Oh, by the way, the episode opened with a carnival with Robert Wool as a barker.
Yeah.
Um, so it comes into play that is where he decides to put on his sideshow. Is basically he's a sideshow attraction. That he's the man who even though it's Dig That Cat, he's real gone. It's the man who can cheat death. I think that's the title of another episode, maybe. But anyway, so he basically kills himself in front of an audience, and every time he kills himself, the audience gets bigger and bigger until there's audience participation, where I think if you get the right raffle number, you get to
Yeah, this old woman electrocutes him.
with teeth missing, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." And so I just want to go through the list of his the way he died. So he gets shot. That's the first thing. He drowns. He gets drowned. He gets in one of those like chambers with the water. It gets filled up and he drowns. Then he gets hung. He's in and they do little outfits and stuff like that. So he gets hung, but he's like dressed as a cowboy because it's all like how they used to do back in the days where they used to hang rustlers and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of set that up. And also every time Robert Wall does a new thing, he's dressed differently, and his facial hair starts getting more devilish. Like he's starting getting a little goatee.
Yeah, and it gets darker. It seems like.
But he's not an evil character. It's just kind of
Yeah.
interesting that his facial hair changes. And then he falls in love with this girl who's sort of like his assistant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he drowns. He gets hung. The girlfriend's trying to help him, and he's like, "I'm joking here. You're gonna kill me again. You're gonna waste a life." So and then he gets hung, and then he decides he wants more of this money, and he's sick of sharing it with the doctor. So he takes the doctor for a ride, and then his next death is he dies in a car accident because he's like, "Well, this will kill you, but I'll come back." But then I'm thinking, what if you were like you lost an arm and that's never brought up. Like, what if you lose a body part? Does it just go back on, and do you come back to life or whatever? Because there's a point where I think it's the electrocution where he doesn't pop up right away. He's
Yeah, as it goes on, it takes him longer to resurrect,
yeah.
I guess.
So when he gets electrocuted, when the little old crazy lady electrocutes him, um, he ends up in the morgue.
Yeah.
And they're about to do an autopsy. And the actor who's the mortician, I know him from stuff. The tall guy.
Yeah, he's familiar, but I'm trying to.
I'm looking at the cat. Oh, Larry Hankin from God, he's in a lot of stuff. He was in Breaking Bad. That's like the most. I think that's the most recent thing he's done. Um, Let me go down. He's always playing like a homeless guy or some weird. He's got such a weird face too. Um, yeah, he's in so much things that I can't like. Plane, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, I definitely remember him from Planes, Trains, and
If,
Automobiles.
if you see him, you go, oh, I know who this guy is. Anyway, yeah. He freaks out the mortician because he comes back to life. He pops up right on the, he has the blanket over his face, and then he wakes up. He's like, "What's going? What?" And the girlfriend runs in because now she's her girl. Now she's the girlfriend, not just the assistant. But she's like, don't do anything, no, because he's not dead. He's not dead. Yeah. So and then the next one is an arrow. He's like behind this, like it's like one of those shoot 'em games where
Yeah.
the thing goes by, you just try to shoot him in the heart. So they're giving audience members, I guess the audience members have to pay to shoot the guy. And this one person tries it, he misses. And then this father's like, my kid will do it. My kid will kill him. Like, he'll do it. This poor chubby kid is like, I don't want to do it, Dad. I don't want to kill him. Be a man. Kill him. You're going to do it. No, I don't want to do it. He ends up he misses, and the son's like, "You did it." The father's like, "You did it on purpose." Like, Dad, no, I didn't. So, and then actually a professional marksman finally kills him. He comes back from that. He obviously gets a bigger cut of the money. He goes in his trailer with his girlfriend, and they're like, yeah, honey, we're gonna go. Let's go on a vacation. We're gonna go to Tahiti in the Bahamas and blah blah blah. And she's like, I think we're gonna do something different. She's got one of those, hi, honey, kind of.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do something different. And she pulls out. She pulls out. What is it? Pulls out a
Comb. Yeah.
She's like, oh, and then she puts it back, and then she pulls out the knife. I think I'm gonna go on vacation by myself. And then she stabs him like 3 or 4 times. And he's like, and like kind of yelling at her, but also dying. And she's like, I'm sorry, this was fun and everything, but I'm taking all your money and I'm getting out of here. And she takes all the money, she leaves, and he comes back to life, and he's cursing her like, you bitch, and you just wanted me for my money. That's another thing. That's one thing I didn't like about the episode. It's sort of the building up of her all of a sudden deciding to take all the money, and it's like,
Yeah, that seemed to.
except for that one scene.
It seemed to come out of nowhere. Her doing that.
The writing of that was kind of bothers me, but and so his last he's gonna have his, because he's at the end of his life, so he's at his 8th life right now. And this will be the last time he'll be able to do this. So he tells the barker, he's like, well, I want all the money this time. I'm not sharing it with you. I want every cent. I'm doing all the work. It's my body, all this. And he's like, he gives in. And the thing is, he's gonna get buried alive. So he's being buried, and he's buried, and he says something like, about the barker. He's lucky I didn't take a part of the concessions, because I would have took all the money from him. Because I'm sure he was getting get a good chunk of money from popcorn, and because popcorn costs nothing, and they probably sell it for like
Oh
$5.
my gosh,
Even
yeah.
even whatever they sold it for, it was probably they were probably making bank. So yeah, so he's been narrating the whole story from the coffin basically, and then he starts talking. And he's like, he's like, oh, so that cat had to give his life for me, and then he's like,
Mhm.
or like I said at the beginning of the talk, he's the cat died. He's like, he's thinking, and he starts panicking because he realizes the cat was the last life. Well,
Yep.
technically the first life, but so he's like, I don't have any more lives. This is it. This is my life. And we have two guys who are gravediggers, and they're like, as the guy's dying, you hear sort of this screech, and it sounds like a cat. And he's like, and
Mhm.
they're kind of spooked, and they're like, what was that? And it's like, probably some cat.
Yeah.
And they kind of leave freaked, and then you know, Joey Pants is
There's
dead
no
now.
more in this episode. Which um I don't know. I didn't like this one as well as the others in this season. I mean,
Yeah.
it was okay, and I like Joey Pants and all that stuff, but it's just I don't know. It just didn't do it for me like the rest of them did. Did you feel the same way, TJ, or did you like it better than I did?
Um, they probably should have put it first, and then the other two. Because I think I think out of the three, it's the weakest.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's got a lot going for it. I mean, the whole the story idea is a cool idea. The nine
Mhm.
lives and deciding to make money off of that. I mean, how what else would you do with that? I mean, there's nothing else you could really do with that. So I think
Right.
it's a creative way, and yeah, the Ulrich character like, is you you don't I'm not gonna say likable, but he's you're with him through the journey. Let's say,
Right.
um, yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's fine. I don't think it's
I mean,
bad.
it wasn't horrible. It's just that I agree with TJ. They should have had this episode first, and then they could have built on that episode with the rest of these episodes. Um,
Mm,
but that brings us to Only Sin Deep, starring Leah Thompson.
hmm
And this one, the screenplay was by Fred Decker, and this was directed by Howard. I'm not sure if that's Deutsch or Dutch, but I'm pretty sure this is the guy that had directed some John Hughes stuff. It was stuff that John Hughes wrote, but he didn't direct himself, and I think that this guy did that. And I can't remember if like Pretty in Pink was one that he did. Of course, John Hughes wrote that, but
yeah,
um, now I'm gonna have to look it up because
some kind of wonderful, pretty in pink, great
okay,
outdoor.
so he did do Pretty in Pink.
Yep, the replacements.
Hmm.
Um,
He also did The Great Outdoors,
hmm Yeah, then he went into TV. He did a lot of TV.
Grumpier Old Men, Odd Couple too.
Oh, he directed 3 episodes of American Horror Story. Which season? Ugh.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Season. Oh, he did 3 and 4. Oh, he did a couple. Oh, Coven. That's a good season. I don't know which episodes he did, but
But
oh, he did The Strain. I remember that show. Well,
oh yeah, I don't think I ever watched it, but I remember it. But yeah, um, so and I think when Leah Thompson, wasn't she in some kind of wonderful?
yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
that there was that connection there with him and Leah Thompson, and like I said, the screenplay was by Fred Decker. again. So I always really, really liked this episode, and I think it's because Leah Thompson usually plays kind of, she might be a little sassy, like in Howard the Duck, she was kind of this sassy rocker girl, but I
She
hadn't
was.
really, yeah, but I hadn't really seen her play a bitchy character until this. And I think she had fun with it. You could tell she was having fun playing this kind of bitchy, self important type of character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she does it well in this. And I think Leah Thompson is just absolutely beautiful. Some people might not think she is. I did meet her several years ago, and she was really, really sweet person to meet. And I was probably about the only one that weekend that had her sign a Howard the Duck poster because everybody was bringing Back to the Future stuff up
Yeah.
to her, and she was like, "Oh wow!" And she was looking at the poster and stuff, and so I guess she was maybe surprised a little bit that somebody brought her a Howard the Duck poster instead of the millions of Back to the Future things that I'm sure she was asked to sign. Um, but I'm going to let TJ get started talking about this. I'm going to step away 1 second because I'm yawning like a mad woman, and that usually is an indicator that my blood sugar is dropping. So I don't want to go
Oh,
crazy on you guys. So
don't do
I'll
that.
be right back.
Yep. So only sin deep. There's actually another episode called Only Skin Deep, but I was surprised that they did two titles that sounded so from the same, but that was weird. Um, yeah. So this was from a Haunt of Fear originally. Haunt of Fear number 24. Oh, by the way, Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone was also from the Haunt of Fear. Haunt of Fear number 21 from 1953. Anyway, so yeah, Leah Thompson plays what the hell is her name in this? Um, Leah Thompson plays Sylvia Vane. Now, that's not just a name. She's like it says. She's very into her looks. She's very how she dresses, how her makeup is. She's very like self-centered. She's also a hooker, so she's a self-centered hooker. Like I think I guess especially back in the 80s, like you make more money if you're a hot hooker. Um, and she goes off with this one guy after her friends uh, she's got some of a her friend Raven is another hooker. They have a little nice little. You only see her at the beginning for a short period of time. You don't really get to see much of Raven, but she's sort of fun, I think. Um, talking about their Johns and all that stuff. Not guys named John. John is what hookers have for their dates are called Johns. Anyway, she goes off with this one guy. She ends up holding him up for money. Um, Shoots him dead. So she's already um, uh, not the kind of girl you want to take home to mama. And she goes by her friend and she's like, "How'd it go?" And she's like, "I made a killing or something." I forget what she says, something like that. So she decides to go pawn some stuff. Um, I'm sure from her various killings or whatever. She goes to this pawnbroker, played by Britt Leach, who he's the store owner in Silent Night, Deadly Night. He's been in. Well, you got. I mean, that did you know who he is by that one? Um,
I think Britt Leach wasn't he in some like old shows like Andy Griffin Show and stuff like that. or at least some sitcoms, I think.
He was in the Waltons for a few episodes. I know that. He's in
Mhm.
Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
um, Other than that, a couple of things here and there. Like he did a couple episodes of The Odd Couple, a couple episodes of Bonanza. Um, oh, that's right. He plays a store manager in an episode of The Brady Bunch. I remember him from that because he
oh,
always
that's
looks
right. You're right.
Um, yeah, so she goes to pawn some money. He goes, I got, this is a bunch of junk, and she's trying to say, hey, this is a lot of good stuff. And she's got like a New York kind of accent. She's like, yeah, this is stuff you want to, she's
Yeah,
hot. She's got one of those voices. Is like, does that voice come out of that face? That doesn't seem right, but, um,
but we'll just go with it. That
I
after
think
a
it's cool.
while.
She wanted to do a voice. They let her do a voice. Um, so he's like, I can pay you for something that's really worth something, and she doesn't know what he's talking about, and she's like,
Mhm.
your beauty, I want your beauty, and she's like, she doesn't know what the hell he means, but she's like, yeah, money's money. So he takes a cast of her face, pays her for it.
Mhm.
Um, she has enough money to sort of like make herself over. So she buys some clothes and she goes to a fancy restaurant or whatever, or cocktail party or whatever. And she meets this rich guy. They're
Mhm.
falling for each other. Um,
This is almost like a harder edged Pretty Woman.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking
yeah,
of.
that makes sense. Um, Even though I like Raven, she's no Larissa Giacomo. Who's
Right.
love her. She was the best Nadine um, in the
Yeah,
stable.
I
Sorry,
I agree.
Amber Heard was not as good as she was, and she had to play two. She was technically playing two characters, even though she was the same character. Um,
Yeah, they combine characters. I loved Laura San Giacomo in anything, basically.
You think I got something, or what's her line in Pretty Woman? You think I got talent, or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's like a few months later, they're in a relationship or whatever, and she starts noticing things on her face, and she's starting to get older
Hmm.
until she's like an old hag, basically. Um,
Yeah, till she. I don't know if you guys and gals can see that there, but that bottom picture where she's actually holding a pretty picture of herself, but she's got all that makeup on that they put on her.
and then she goes to a doctor, and she's like, I'm 22 or whatever she is, and like, look at my face, and he's like, sorry, I can't do anything. So she goes back to the pawnbroker, and he's like, sorry, that's it. I think it's voodoo. He uses voodoo, maybe. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, there's because he's got a lot of like voodoo looking masks and stuff in his shop.
Yeah, and also obviously the masks of the faces of the people he's taken from their, and we don't really know what he uses the youth for. He doesn't use it on himself, obviously. Is it
No, he's
a
using
collector?
it to bring Beauty back to his dead wife.
Oh, I forgot about the dead wife. Oh,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, that's right. Um, Leah Thompson ends up going to the pawn shop and seeing right. She sees the body, right? He shows it to her. One of those things.
I
Um,
think yeah, he shows it to her after she's all, beautiful again. But he does say that he keeps having to take beauty from younger women to keep her like that. She doesn't stay like that after just one time. It has to keep happening.
yeah. Yeah, well, it's just her face. Her hands stay the same and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
That's what you notice when people get older. Even though they have tons of plastic surgery, they can't fix their hands. Their hands cannot be. That's why I
Right.
think Dolly Parton wears sort of like wraps around her hands, so so
Mm.
people don't like pinpoint and go, hey, those hands are kind of old, lady.
But how come the rest of you done? Oh, you had work done.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, she threatens the guy with a gun, and um, uh, she I, she goes back to her apartment to try to get some stuff, I guess, to get her face back, basically.
Mhm.
And her boyfriend catches her, but he doesn't realize it's her. They end up having this struggle, and she kills him in cold blood. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't try to not kill him. She knew she's
Yeah,
not.
she killed him and she killed the pimp near the beginning of the episode. So she's killing all kinds of people.
Yeah, at the beginning, I was like, this is where you show that she's not a good person. Right away, they tell you in this episode. There's not. She doesn't become bad, or you get it right off the bat. She's not. She's a she's a murdering hooker. Is what she is.
Or as they call her a call girl. If you read the little blurb for the episode, I guess they're trying to make her sound better than hooker or whore or whatever other
She's on
terms
the
you could use.
street soliciting herself. She's soliciting to get, like I said earlier, Johns for her. For that's
Hmm.
how a call girl is. Like you literally call a service and you're like, send me a girl, and that's this is yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
person
think they were trying to make her sound fancier.
the person who wrote it doesn't know what a call girl is.
Right.
Right. So then she goes back to the guys, and that's when he shows the wife, she looks like she's not dead, even though she's dead. Um, she ends up. Um, uh, a cop comes in. She goes to hide in the back. She finds out she's wanted for murder, and she's screwed. So even if she gets her looks back, she's gonna go to jail because they're gonna find her. She takes her face mold and she leaves, realizing that there's nothing she can do um, but carry her beauty with her. She's walking down the street. Her hooker friend Raven from the beginning bumps into her. She
Hmm.
drops the life mask. It shatters, and she's like, "Watch where you going, you old ugly bitch!" Or
Ugly
something.
old bitch or
Yeah,
something like that.
ugly
Yeah.
old bitch. Yeah, she
But you
walks
know what?
away. And, yeah, that's it.
You know what that part reminded me of when the plaster cast of her face breaks. It sort of reminded me of that the tear collector episode of on Tales from the Dark Side, where she steals her tears, and
Hmm.
only that has a happier ending because she meets a guy who's going to make her happy and she won't cry anymore. Um, but when that breaks and shatters, and the tears go everywhere, it just sort of reminded me of that final scene in Only Sin Deep. But
Yeah. Yeah,
but
I don't know if they borrowed from the original story, or Tales from the Crypt, the TV show, borrowed from that
Mhm.
episode.
Mm,
Maybe one, maybe it could be both too. I mean,
could be. But I did like this episode, like I said, very very well. It was one of my favorites. Probably one of my favorites of the whole entire series.
hmm
Um, and I think it's because I think Leah Thompson was perfectly cast in that role
yeah,
because she played good girls, sassy good girls and stuff like that, but she hadn't really played a rough around the edges kind of bitchy character.
hmm
Can you think of anything that she played that was like that before this episode?
um, not really. I want to go through her filmography, see if anything I can. She's in Jaws 3D.
Yeah, yeah, she was.
Red Dawn, her character was fine in Red Dawn.
I mean, now
She always
some
played like the
kind of
girl next door, the popular girl. She's never really like that kind of
some
character.
kind of wonderful. She wasn't bitchy, but she was kind of too wrapped up in herself to understand how much she was hurting that guy.
Yeah.
Which you could look at that two ways. You could look at that, well, she's a bitch, or you could look at it as like she's just a young woman, young girl, who's not got her priorities
Yeah.
straight, you know.
Just because a girl won't be with you doesn't mean she's a bitch.
Right,
Maybe, maybe you're
exactly.
a jerk. Maybe it's your fault.
Right.
Um,
Um,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't really think she's ever been in anything.
so I think this was one of those, uh, you know, let me try something different, you
Yeah.
know, type of deals. And I think she pulled it off beautifully. Um, and, you know, kudos to her for allowing them to put all that junk on her face to make her look like that.
Yeah.
As you know, that had to be, that was probably several hours in the makeup chair of having to have that stuff put on. It wouldn't be like a movie, but still, yeah, she had to sit there and have that stuff put on.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very, like I can see the Dick Smith influence with that old age makeup.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with this episode, TJ?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So we are on the final two episodes. And then, of course, we're going to come back and we're probably going to split them up or triple them up or whatever by the time the second season rolls around because there's going to be more episodes
Yeah.
than this. So, but I like this episode too. Lover Come Hack to Me, which has Amanda Plummer.
I love her and everything. I love her and
I
everything.
do too. I just absolutely love her.
She's good
Uh,
at playing crazy, better than anybody, I think.
yeah, she can definitely pull off crazy, but I love the way she does it because it seems so subtle at first, and then all of a sudden she just goes batshit crazy. All of a sudden, I mean, if you watch her in Pulp Fiction,
Oh yeah.
the way she's sweet sing song voice, and then all of a sudden she stands up on the table and's got that gun, and she says, "If you any of you, what does she say?
I don't remember.
Fucking pricks move, I'll execute every motherfucking one of you." And just the look
I thought
in
you
her.
just said the F word, but you couldn't say pricks.
Well, I mean, I didn't know at first if I should say that because so many things that you don't think will get you in trouble, they get you in trouble.
I don't think that's
So
a word. That's it's a body part.
there you go, TJ. TJ will cover for me. Oh, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Amanda Plummer is fantastic in this as she is
She's also
in,
sexy in this too. Um,
yeah,
some
she gets to be
people
sexy.
don't think she's attractive. They don't like her face, but she pulls off the sexy in this. I think.
She's got the stockings and all of that on in one scene. Um, so this one was directed by Tom Holland,
You
and
can
the
tell.
screenplay was by Michael McDowell. So that I thought that was a good pairing. It again, fantastic casting with putting Amanda Plummer in the main role. But gonna turn it over to TJ to talk about this lovely, lovely episode.
This is another they did a lot of Haunted Fear episodes. This is Haunted Fear number from
Hmm.
Haunted Fear 19 from May 1953. Um, yeah, it's so it's this married couple are on their honeymoon. Um, they stop at this sort of well. They stop at I think it's her aunt. They stop at her aunt's house. Her mother's passed away.
Hmm.
She died when she was born. I think yeah, or before she was well, not before she was born. Uh, she died after she was born or something like that. So she has
Right.
just her aunt. She has no father or anything. The father also died. Um,
Yeah, the father died the night she was conceived,
see,
and
yeah,
that's going to come into play here
yeah, spoiler.
later.
Uh, so visit aunt, whatever the hell she is, and the aunt's sort of saying, you know, don't do this. Don't take her. You'll regret it if you do. But he's just
Mhm.
like no, because she also thinks he just wants her for her money because there's a big inheritance and whatever
Right.
that she has, and she's like, no, he's like, no, I love her, and you could tell he looks sleazy too. He's
Yeah,
good
he's
looking,
definitely sleazy.
he's good looking, and he's suave, and he knows how to say the right things. And so she starts off very librarian with her hair in a bun and very like, covered up, and um, so yeah, so it's very Rocky Horror. Their car breaks down in front of this old house. He decides to go in and check to see if he can, see if anybody's home. Um, they both decide, all right, we gotta go. We can't just stay out here. We gotta look for a phone. So they go in together. Um, I think there's a phone. The phone doesn't work. Um, we see this big giant battle axe on the
Hmm.
wall, which is very interesting to see randomly and very noticeable because it's lit so you can see what like it's like lit specifically so you can see the battle axe. Um,
They wanted you to see that damn battle
yeah,
axe.
oh
There's
yeah.
no doubt about that.
Um, yeah, he gets out. He strips first. He gets out of his wet clothes, and then she strips down to sort of her bra, but then she immediately like puts on a robe because she's very modest and whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and he's
You
like,
know what though? When the guy took his clothes off, I thought, this has been a while since I had seen this episode, and I was like, if he doesn't be careful, he's going to show everything he's got here because he was just like moving around like this.
HBO, lady, it's HBO. Back in the day, nudity was HBO. I'm surprised there wasn't more nudity in these episodes. So far, this
Right,
is one episode that
exactly.
has nudity. Yeah. So and he's like, don't you shouldn't be embarrassed near me and whatever. And they start making love on the couch. They decide to go up to one of the rooms. They find there's cobwebs and it's from Holland, so it's very gothic looking. It's very
Mhm.
like I said, there's cobwebs all over the place. It's dirty. I guess the water works for some reason, so that's interesting. Um,
Mhm. Somebody kept paying the water bill, I guess.
yeah. So meanwhile, this room, they decide she lights all these candles because she's like, well, let's try to make a romantic night out of it, even though we're trapped in this house in the middle of nowhere. Um, and we see her doing. There's a little montage of her putting on lipstick and getting dressed. So she
Mhm.
goes from kind of booky and bookwormy and mousy to being sort of sexy Amanda Plummer, with hot red lipstick, and she's wearing a negligee, and she, like you said, she's got the stockings with the clips and all that, and the
Yeah.
tiny bra, and she's. I think don't we see her nudity? Doesn't she take off her shirt at some point?
Yeah, well, she does, but I don't know if they ever show her breast. I didn't remember
Yeah,
seeing.
we see it from the back, and then they're sort of holding. When they're making
Yeah,
out and they're doing the deed,
right.
they're sort of like hold. Yeah, I guess so. She's trying to be a little bit modest for at least in real life. I don't know. Um, so it's a short sex scene, but it's got a little little tinge of fire going there.
Mhm.
So anyway, they go to sleep. Um, he start he uh, he wakes up. She's not there. He starts hearing some noises and stuff like that. And he sees this couple outside, and the woman, it's a man and a woman, and the woman looks like his wife. She's dressed,
Mhm.
they're sort of dressed a little bit like old fashioned, I guess you'd say. Um, she brings the guy in, and they start their own kind of love scene, and he's like, "What is she doing? She's having sex with this guy," and he's sort of he's sort of confused about it. Um, And then so the guy sort of after they had sex, he sort of spent on the couch, and she starts talking to him, and she's like, "I'm pregnant now, and the baby's only this big." I'm like, the baby wouldn't be anything at that point, but all right, whatever. She thinks she's a
Nah,
centimeter.
it'd be almost non-existent, but
She ain't no obstetrician, that's for sure. Anyway,
no.
and then she's looking at him sleeping, and she goes for the battle axe on the wall, and she grabs the
Mm.
battle axe, and she starts hacking him, as the title.
Yep, exactly.
Um, wish I could remember the dialogue. Um,
But she does talk about she's going to basically destroy him or kill him before their relationship becomes sour or becomes,
right.
bad.
Yeah, why we're at the height of our passion, because eventually that's
Mhm.
gonna be, that's gonna be gone, and yeah, we're not. Everything's gonna be. Time will spoil our love, and
Basically, men are disposable in this episode.
oh yeah, I mean, she, she axes the shit out of this guy. This blood's flying all over the place. We
Mm.
don't we don't really see like it penetrating, but we see it. We see the blood splattering.
Oh,
It's
it's
very bloody.
flashes,
It's very.
yeah.
This is the bloodiest episode so far.
Mhm.
Um, Meanwhile, the husband's watching. The other husband's watching this murder take place. At one point, he goes to jump at the axe, and he goes right through them because he realizes. Then
Mhm.
we realize this is either a dream or it's a ghost.
Right.
Because I guess if you could figure it out, we're seeing her conception.
Yep.
We don't know what you can pretty much tell what's going on. This is his wife's conception, um, and he's seeing her mother murder the father on their wedding night, um, and he wakes up in his bed like it was a dream. Um, but nope, she comes running in with the axe.
Yeah.
Um, she looks like she's gone from this sort of mousy um, character to this like she's a murderer now. If you've seen
Yeah.
So I Married an Axe Murderer, how she was in that, this is
Yep.
I
Exactly.
guess this is why she was hired for So I Married an Axe Murderer, because of this. She's literally an axe murderer in this episode.
Mhm.
Mm. So he's trying to rationalize with her, like she's like talking about their love and everything like that, and he goes, no, wait a minute, I didn't marry you because I love you. I married you for your money. That's all I care about. But
Uh-huh.
she's like, no, but this was too perfect. And it's like, no, really, seriously. All you're saying, everything you're saying doesn't count because I don't love you. But she doesn't care, and she chops the shit out of him. And then it ends with her and her aunt, and she's now her stomach is developed because it's some time later, and she's like, she's like, now I hope you swear off men, and she's like, oh, I don't need a man anymore because I have a baby now.
Mm. But
And
her daughter will need one.
yep, so she's insane. She's gonna have a daughter, and I guess the aunt is puts up with it. It reminds me of that Tales from the Dark Side episode, the Kasabian curse, sort of a little bit.
It also reminds me of the Black Widows episode in a way,
Yeah,
because it keeps carrying on. The women will kill and eat their spouses on their wedding nights,
yeah.
and they'll also get pregnant and have another little girl who's going to grow up and do the same thing.
Amanda Plummer makes this great face right as she's she wants to kill him, and she's like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, ooh, she's evil. Yeah, and chops the shit out of him.
Mm. Yeah, I do agree with TJ that this is the bloodiest episode. Even though you had an axe and a murderous Santa Claus,
A
and
little blood
and
happened.
also the house,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of blood in that episode. There
She
just
gets hit
wasn't.
in the face. Like her whole face is in body is covered with this fake blood. It's just like it's very Evil Dead. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, a fun episode. But definitely keep in mind that men are absolutely disposable in this episode. Um,
and in regular life. Anyway,
hey now.
Steve better. We should show this episode to Steve.
Well, I got a watch along for I Spit on Your Grave coming up this Saturday. So. He's
Yeah,
probably not going to be anywhere around when I
he
do
was
that one.
married in that one. I mean, except for the couple of what's her face's parents, but yeah.
Um, so the final episode of season one is collection completed
Yeah.
with M. Emmett Walsh and Audra Lindley, who is Mrs. Roper.
This is Roper. Yep.
I had forgotten about her being in this. So I was like, dang, it's Mrs. Roper. And she's a little bit more flighty, I think, than she was as Mrs. Roper
Oh, it's
in
a
this.
totally different character. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But she means well, and
Yeah.
she's planning this big retirement party for her husband, and she loves animals, and that's why I say that M. Emmett Walsh is pretty much an asshole in this episode, and we're gonna see why. But I'm gonna let TJ go ahead and start talking about this one. Oh,
Okay.
it's directed by Mary Lambert too, who did Pet Cemetery.
Seminar, yep. Uh, let's see. All right, so yeah, I want to get the fucking. Oop, I swore. Um, I always lose a page whenever I'm trying to do something. Lordy Lord. Here it is. Okay. All right. So, yep, this was a Vault of Horror. This was Vault of Horror number 25, June 1952. Oh, we get the introduction of the Crypt Keeper's pet, Peeves.
Yes, we do.
A stuffed dog, very in this weird like kind of face, like it was just murdered and then he stuffed it.
That's probably what happened.
I mean, it is the Crypt Keeper. He goes, before today's terror tale, I'd like to introduce you to my pet Peeves.
Yeah.
He has it. This is actually Peeves' story because he's like, Peeves has a terror tale of his own.
Mm.
So yeah, Emmett, what a confusing name. Emmett Walsh.
I know I have to be careful when I say it, or I'm gonna fumble over his name. So
Anyway, he's Jonas, and Jonas is retiring. Like you said, his wife Anita is setting up this surprise party for him. He's come home. He's sort of pissed off because he's like, well, what am I going to do for? I'm was it 65? I'm retired. He looks older than 65. But anyway, he's 65. He's retired. He doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. He kind of makes a comment. Like, what am I going to do? Sit and talk to you? Which he doesn't seem to be happy about. And she just wants to make him happy. She's got a cake for him. The place is all decorated. She was like, let me take it, because he's got the box of his stuff. He's like, let me take this. He's like, no. And he's like fighting her over it. It's like, calm down, dude. So she drops it, and there's this big hammer, this big gold hammer, or gold, silver, whatever it is. And it's sort of his parting, because I forget what did he do for a job? I don't remember what he did for a job. He's some kind of salesperson.
yeah, I don't know if they go into great detail about it. Probably not, but
Because I was trying to think the hammer might have had something to do with his job, but I don't remember. Anyway, so yeah, he's like, yeah, this is all they gave me for 50 years of service. I got this crap.
yeah, it's like those T-shirts that you would get when somebody goes on vacation. Somebody went on vacation. All I got was this lousy T-shirt.
So yeah, she has all these animals in the house. Those were the guests at the party. They weren't people. They were the animals that she keeps collecting. And when she first, at the beginning of the episode, she thinks her husband's home, but it's a cat. And she's like, oh, she starts playing with the cat. And the cat's meowing. And she goes, what's your name? Mew Mew? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not creative with these names, are you?
No.
This is also sort of
I think she even had one of the dogs or something is named like Jonas Jr. or Jonas the Second or something after her husband.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, she has all these animals, and he's sort of getting mad that why do you keep bringing in animals? And she's like, well, these are my friends. These are the only thing I have. And he's sort of like taken aback, kind of like, well, what am I? Chopped liver? I'm your husband. And it's like, but he's always he was always traveling for his job, and he was never there.
And
And he's
he's
like, well,
grumpy as all get out, too.
yeah. And he's like, what am I supposed to do in retirement? Talk to you? And it's like, whoa, dude, you're a terrible husband there. And she's sort of like, she's insulted at first, and she's sort of, you know, sad. But then, her personality is like, oh well, we'll just get you, blah blah blah. We'll figure it out. And then he has a friend, Roy, who's like, oh, maybe you should get a hobby and start doing something. He's played by uh, Martin Garner.
Ain't that the same guy that's on that Tales from the or no, it wasn't Tales from the Dark Side. It was Twilight Zone from the 80s, that Dealer's Choice episode where the devil came to play cards with them. Wasn't he in that episode?
I don't remember. I know he's in Twilight Zone the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the old people in Kick the Can.
Right.
He's the one who's married to Selma from Night Court.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Was he in that? Yeah. Oh, that's right. He was Bernie in Night Court. I remember him in Night Court. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So he's like, yeah. He starts trying to do all these hobbies. None of them are working out. He finally comes on the taxidermy. He he's not acclimating to the retired life. He's just not. And he's sort of getting fed up with his wife, and yeah, he's not a good person. So he finally finds a hobby that he likes. It's taxidermy, and he starts taxiderming. I guess that's the word. I don't know. Taxiderming all the animals that the wife has befriended.
Yep.
Even the little dog, which is like, whoa, okay, Norman Bates with the.
Yeah, the little bulldog.
And he sets he uses a remote control to like.
I know that is so sadistic.
One of the animals to make it move or whatever, like yeah. And she's just like appalled by everything. She's like, all the dog, every animal that she loved is like now.
And then she's like, "You're not gonna touch Mew Mew."
Yeah, he goes after the cat. He goes after the cat. And yeah, you're not gonna touch Mew Mew. Terrible name. And of course the parting gift from his job comes to play. She grabs it off the shelf. She swings and she scores and she bashes him in the head. And she so it's the next morning. The Roy comes in to visit. Roy comes through the front door, screams because she has taxidermied her husband, and he looks sort of like a scarecrow, sort of with like the. He's got he's like, I guess his face was ripped off because it's like it looks like it was like sewn back on very shoddily, and like
Yeah.
she put in fake eye, because when you do the taxidermy, you don't put the body parts back, you kind of replace them with stuff that'll last. I'm gonna guess he was actually in the makeup because it looks like it's the actual.
Yeah, it looks like him Emmett Walsh, but with stitches all over him.
Yeah, he's wearing his white. He's like in a suit and tie, but he has his white jacket on that has like flowers and stuff on it. And I'm gonna guess she dressed him. I don't know if that was like his salesman outfit or whatever it was. And it sort of ends her maniacally, like happy about it. And Yeah, that's in the episode. This
Mm.
so there was in the Volta horror movie from 1973. There's an episode called "The Neat Job," which is sort of the same thing
Mm.
like this, where this guy gets this wife and he just wants her to take care of the house, and it has to be exactly like
Right.
he wants it, and he's very like very anal about it, and she finally freaks out and uh, gets one of the hammers with the hook in the back, and she smashes his head in. So it's very much like this episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the comic books just kind of got to a point where they were sort of redoing their stories, where they were kind of the same thing, but they
Yeah.
kind of have a different hook, but it's basically the same setup and the same follow through, I think. But yeah,
Hmm.
this episode was comedic, but then you get the stuff with Emmett Walsh being this like this big douche that you're like kind of waiting for him to you're waiting for her to kill him, and one attack.
Yeah. I,
It's. I wish it was more satisfying. I wish we saw it like go into his head,
yeah, they could have done that. It was HBO. They could have done it.
like with the Santa Claus one. We saw the poker go into the dude's head. I mean,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think this was a good final episode of the season.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a way to kind of top off that season.
Yeah.
But before she hits him in the head, when he's like showing her, like he's kind of mocking her, that one poor dog's head, that not the bulldog, but this is like a brown dog with floppy ears, and I was like, oh my gosh, and he's like picking its head up and going like this with it, and I'm like, dude, that's, yeah, that's too much for us animal lovers. I mean, I know it wasn't real, but it looked too real for me. I always say you can uh you can kill as many people as you want in these television shows and movies and stuff like that. Uh, but good Lord, don't kill these animals off. So that was just too much for me.
I like what she says. She's before we see the reveal that he's in the chair, and she's like talking to him while they're watching Lassie, which is funny because
Yeah,
and she's like, "It's good to have a man around the house."
right. Um,
And then the
I
guy comes in, and then he does his scream.
I think I'm going to take a chance to go back through these some of these chat messages real quick,
Okay.
because I was looking at them as we were talking, and uh, so Coco was talking about. I didn't know it was on all the way into 96. I probably stopped watching around 93. I
Mm-hmm.
watched the later seasons on a box set. Cool episode about teenagers going into a haunted house or something. And the couple that ages in a house if they go past a certain part of the stairs. I think I remember those. Um, but that's okay if you get ahead, Coco, because we can talk about it when we get to them, and you can bring that up again if you want to, because I may forget from time to time. And I know Russell was saying, what did he say here? Russell was talking about the moon being gorgeous tonight. I haven't even had a chance to look at the moon. Um, Russell wanted to know, is the Bill Paxton and Brad Dourif episode on this DVD? And no, that episode was not. I'm not sure exactly which season that one's on, but I'm sure we'll get to it. Uh, and I think Coco was talking about the and also the house, because she says, man, I remember watching this one with my grandma. I can watch it now and still be on the edge of my seat. That ending. Uh, that is something I would have never watched with either of my grandmas. I don't think my
Yeah.
mom's mom or my dad's mom, just because they weren't into that kind of stuff.
Right.
Uh, let's see. Coco says also about that episode, it's scary because she seems so normal and pretty, but she's a brutal bitch. Then crazy Santa shows up, and it's like two different types of crazy. I mean, she might have taken Psycho Santa out. She probably could have if she was in her thinking correctly, I guess. Uh,
Yeah, that ending's like she's just standing there after she's sort of been pretty good at taking care of herself, and then maybe because of her daughter, but like at least in, the other version of that, the we see what happens. The daughter lets the Santa in, and he chases after her. She tries to go for the fire poker, and he grabs her by the neck,
mhm.
and it ends
Yeah,
with them sort of struggling together. So we could assume we don't know exactly what happened, but you can assume she dies because that was what in the movie it's about them all being. Oh, spoiler, by the way.
right.
The Tales from the Crypt movie, they're all dead at the end.
Blissful loves when I swear, so she got a good dose of
Swear
that.
all the
And
time, but there's certain words like you can't say the p word. I guess.
no, I'm gonna say it all over the place next time.
Okay, see there you go.
Uh, Coco says, "I'm the opposite. I do not like that actress. I'm guessing she means Amanda Plummer, but the guy in this episode was fine as fuck." So we got two different schools of thought on that. Uh, Yes, Blissful, I agree with you. In real life, men are not disposable. Only in this episode.
That's not
He,
what Madeline Kahn said in Clue. Men should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable. I think that's what it was. Yeah, something like that.
uh, Coco says, yeah, yeah, but he looks jacked up in the end, gruesome. She's talking about M. Emmett Walsh at the end of collection. What was it? Collection
Completed.
completed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, So we have officially reached the end of discussing the 6 episodes from the complete first season of Tales from the Crypt. I'm going to have to determine how many episodes are in the second season, unless TJ knows right now
Now
off
I would
the
have to look this up.
top of his head, top of his gloves if he had them on, but he doesn't
Har,
have
har,
them
har,
on.
har. Oh, next time it'll be October, so I will put them on.
There you go.
18.
18.
Yeah.
So do we want to divide them up 9 and 9, or do we want to divide it up more than that?
How about 6, 6, and 6?
Oh, wow.
It's fun. I mean, we go through.
There you go.
We did this in under 2 hours.
Yeah, we did.
That's what these.
Yes, 6, 6, and 6 is fine with me. I just don't want to think about 666. But
We like horror movies. If we're afraid of Satan, we should already be afraid of Satan. I don't know why the numbers would mean anything.
right.
It's like, oh, I can't watch somebody who has an upside down cross. I can't watch. We can't watch Night of the Demons.
Coco says coming up on some Demi Moore in the second season. I think I do believe you're right that there is
She
some
plays
Demi Moore.
a kind of a bitchy character.
Yeah. But to let you guys and gals know what's coming up with me, well, first of all, before I do that, TJ, you got anything coming up that you want to talk about?
No, next week I'm seeing Claudio Simonetti live doing Demons,
Oh, that'll be cool. I can't wait to hear about that.
and my friend got us in a meet and greet. So I want to bring something for them to sign. I don't know.
Oh, I am so jealous. I am jealous of
I
that.
have the Demons laser disc. I don't know. Maybe I should bring that. I wish I had like an album from Simonetti or something like that. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't know how many things I'm allowed to bring, but I'll see
I
what we get.
didn't get to do a meet and greet with him, but the venue where he played with his version of Goblin was a very small venue, so we were really close to the band and really close to the stage, but we didn't actually get to go up and like meet him, which would have been icing on the cake if we got to do that. So I'm really jealous that TJ's gonna get to have a meet and greet with him.
I mean, I missed all those conventions that were here. I missed Joe Bob and Darcy, so
Uh,
which sucks because they don't come in this area. They're not. They're usually in like I don't know even.
so what happened that caused you to miss them,
I got a
TJ, or
lot of
what?
family stuff going on right now,
Uh,
and yeah, it sort of yeah. I missed two conventions in a row. Um, which is like all right. At least I save money, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, I try to tell myself that too
Yeah.
when I miss
I mean,
out
I
on.
wanted to meet them. I wanted to meet um, um, at the most recent the second one. They had the Fright Night cast. I definitely wanted to meet Amanda Beer, so I wanted to meet her.
Right,
And
yeah.
Garrett was going to be at that one too, and I could have maybe saw him, but yeah, I never got a chance to meet Garrett, which sucks because he lives like in Rhode Island, which isn't that far from me. I think,
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think he was that far from you.
but yeah, but oh well.
Maybe, I'm hoping that, you'll get another chance to do that, to meet all those people and
Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to go somewhere if Joe Bob and Darcy are there again. Though I think Joe Bob posted on his Twitter at some point. He's like, "This will be the last jamboree we're doing," and I'm like, "Is he retiring from touring or something?"
oh, that would suck.
It seemed a little ominous. I mean, I could have read it wrong, but it seemed like the phrasing of it seemed like, I'm always like thinking something's going on there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not like health issues or something like that.
Joe Bob
That's
looks like he's not doing too good.
but
He doesn't move a lot, and I don't know. Watching the old Monster Vision, I'm like, boy. I mean, it was 23 years ago, but I guess he was older anyways, right? So it's not like
what how old is he now?
he's gonna be in his 60s, right? Or
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah,
I mean, Joe Bob. How old is Joe Bob? But how old is whatever? What's his real name? John Irving Bloom. How old is
yeah, John
he's
Bloom.
70?
Yeah, I go back and I watch those old Monster Vision episodes, and he looks so young
Yeah,
in there. And then if you go back and watch a drive-in theater, that's like a real shock.
he was a child.
Yeah, right. Um, so let's
But
see. Um, Thursday, tomorrow night, I will not be on my channel doing stuff. I'm going to be on John Grande's channel, and we're going to be ranking the Evil Dead series. And you know what, Dana's going to say about 2013.
it's your favorite.
Mm. And somebody had already put something on the promotion that John has got out
Yeah.
and said if Evil Dead Rise isn't right at the bottom, I forgot what they said. They said something, and I was like, "Well, it's not going to be at the bottom of my list. I don't know about anybody else's list, but Evil Dead Rise will be before that 2013 piece of crap."
I got a question for you. Now I
Mhm.
know we've never seen like a really good copy of it, but how do you rank Within the Woods within the whole franchise of Evil Dead?
Oh, that's interesting, TJ. I don't know. I think because for me, because that is like the precursor to the Evil Dead,
Hmm.
I would almost have to put it second after the original Evil Dead movie. If you were holding a gun to my head and said you got to put this in there, then that's where I would put it. Um, because I don't think it's as good as the first Evil Dead film, but yet it was the precursor to it. I
Yeah.
mean, this is how they raised the money to be able to make the first actual Evil Dead movie. So,
Hmm. Okay, cool. I actually thinking about that. I'm like, did they drop the Indian burial ground thing because of any specific reason, or just they just wanted to make it less complicated, the story, or
yeah, I don't don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ever heard Sam Raimi say why they, maybe they did want to just keep it simple or keep it kind of ambiguous. We don't really know where these things came from, except by the time Army of Darkness, they came from 1300 AD or whatever, and I think that's what it was. But
Well, he
so
never
I'll,
talks about Within the Woods anyway, so it's like, except to
yeah,
mention that it existed. That's all he says about it.
yeah, I don't. They always say that Sam Raimi's the person that kept versions of that from being on any release. He always put the kibosh on it every time they were thinking about doing it. And I think that Scott Spiegel actually had a pretty decent copy of Within the Woods because I'm telling you, most of the ones I've seen, they look pretty bad, and they can give you a migraine trying to watch them because it's just
Yeah,
really bad. But for some reason, years and years and years ago, Scott Spiegel lent out his only copy on VH or on a VHS tape or something. I think it probably was transferred over from Super 8, I would imagine,
yeah.
and he lent out his only copy to somebody and they never returned it. And I was like, damn it. That's why you never lend stuff out to people, especially something like that. That's a piece of horror movie history, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Something like that. But so I'll be on John Grande's channel, Grande's Graveyard, talking about the Evil Dead series of films. So if y'all want to check that out, you can hop on over to John's channel and take a gander. It's going to be me and him and gosh, I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but um, so everybody go subscribe to Grande's Graveyard and give John some more subscribers and all that because he's a really good guy and he works hard on his channel and he's always doing interesting things and stuff. And for a young guy, I love his taste in movies. A lot of these younger guys, they don't like this stuff like Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. They're like,
Some older people don't like Dawn of the Dead. We
That's
know.
right. Dirk isn't
Oh,
old,
we're
but
talking about, yes, I was.
I believe Dirk's a year younger than I am. So I'm 47, he's 46.
Mm.
And he calls it Yawn of the Dead. So, but so anyway, I got that coming up. Friday will be another midday with Dana and Jay at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Everybody's seeming to like the me and Jay stuff. They like the me and TJ stuff too. Because
Yeah.
I've been told that me and TJ have good chemistry, me and Jay have good chemistry, and me and
So
Uncle
do
Bill
I.
have good chemistry. Yeah, TJ's gonna start showing his legs. TJ, I gotta ask you why I've got you on here.
Oh.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say who asked or who was wondering
Was
about
it
this.
Elizabeth? It was. Okay, what she asked? What she asked?
Well, she was wondering for sure what color your eyes were.
The green.
There you go, Blissful. They are green.
Why couldn't she just ask that question? Why is it a big secret?
Well, I don't think she was keeping a secret. I don't know if maybe she thought maybe she shouldn't ask it like right in the middle of a stream or something. But I told her, I said, if you don't care, I'll ask TJ the next time I have him on. What
And you were
color
going to
is
keep
it?
it a secret who it was. Right away, you gave it up. You didn't even try.
Yeah, but she already told me she didn't mind if I ask you. So,
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't tell. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know.
when you get up, like in the light, like I guess the light coming from your computer or whatever, I can see the green. I can see the green to it. But usually your room is not real bright, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
wasn't really
a
sure.
bright light type of person. I'm not. My face isn't made for the bright light.
All right. But so whatever you say, TJ. So and then
It's okay.
Saturday I've got I Spit on Your Grave watch along coming up. Um Coco says your eyes look blue, TJ. Um Mine are blue. I don't know if anybody can tell that or not, but they are blue
No.
just like my dad's. Um but I'm also, and you guys and gals can thank Jay for this because we talked about, me and Jay had an impromptu stream last night, and Jay has been sending me recipe after recipe after recipe that
Uh,
I can do for movie munchies. And so I thought, since I'm doing the I Spit on Your Grave watch along, I'm going to do the spiral cut hot dogs with lots of ketchup. And guess what scene I'm going to be eating those hot dogs in? I'm going to take a big old bite of that hot dog right at the bathtub scene. I'm just telling you now. So be aware.
Someone's gonna
Beware.
clip that and put it all over the internet.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't care.
Because you can
Probably.
clip off video during the stream and stuff. Everybody go do that.
Oh gosh, don't give Wes any ideas. He'd be
With
the one
sound
to do.
effects and like something.
And then the guy screaming, "It won't stop bleeding." But
He's
anyway,
killing me. That's what it reminds me of. He's killing me. He's killing
yeah.
me.
And then Sunday, this is kind of, well, I Spit on Your Grave's not really a horror movie. It's more of an exploitation type of movie. I guess it's horrific for guys to watch, but those guys were reprehensible. They deserved it. Like normal guys, no, they wouldn't deserve it. But those guys were rapists. They were gang rapists. They deserved everything they got in that movie. Except I'm always on the fence with the mentally disabled guy because I don't know how much I always felt like maybe he didn't know better, but I guess you could have two schools of thought on that. But the
Yeah, it's hard
others,
to
they
gauge
did,
nowadays that character. It's
yeah. Um, so anyway, Dead and Buried will be Sunday's watch along because
oh, I love
Dead
that.
and Buried is always a fall like movie. It just seems like a fall like movie for me. And so that will be Sunday. And both of these will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So if anybody wants to, because I can't put the damn link in the chat no more, because people do
Yeah.
nefarious things backstage. And that's all I'll say about it.
I'm
Because,
sorry you had to see that. That's,
oh, it took me a couple of days for that to get out of my head, and I'm like,
it
I
runs in your
can't.
thing.
Oh, it was terrible. But anyway, uh, if anybody wants to join me for any of those, let me know, and I will figure out some way to get the link to you. Now, people that have Facebook and they're my friends on Facebook, like that's what I do for TJ. I'll send them to him through Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Which if you have a Facebook and you don't mind being my friend on Facebook and you want me to send you the link, I can do that. We can put the link in the chat, but it's not going to stay in the chat. No more is that staying in the chat because people are crazy and nasty and a bunch of other adjectives I could use, but I'm not going to. But that's what's coming up for the rest of the week. I just wanted to let everybody know, and I'll try to get off my lazy ass and get the promotion out, in plenty of time for all this stuff. So,
Yeah, I might try to join you for Dead and Buried if I can. I like
but
it.
not I spit on your grave, right?
No, I got something going on anyways. I can't do it anyways.
Oh. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
I did a short that I wrote the script for, and this sort of a well, my idea was more the ending of Dead and Buried. I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it. I'm going to assume everybody's probably seen it in the chat. Um,
Hmm.
this there's a scene that uh, I sort of like was thinking I was referencing sort of, but you unless I explained it, you
Uh-huh.
probably wouldn't know about it. So I mean, I would say look at my short, but that's like it's literally like 5 minutes of just me, and so I don't know if people can stand me talking as a character for 5 minutes, but
I could. I think a lot of the people in this chat, if not all of them, could. TJ, you do.
well,
I told you you do. You do such good work with your shorts. You do what some people with just a few minutes. You do excellent with that. And some people, you can give them 2 hours and a bunch of money, and they make crap. So, I mean, I'm being honest about that. And all your stuff is good that I've seen.
oh, thanks.
But so anyway, I guess we're gonna be. We went a little over 2 hours with me blabbing and stuff. But we cleaned up and did a good job on these episodes too. I think we covered them
Yeah.
well. Um,
Yes, blissful.
she's asking about is it on YouTube?
I can't
Uh,
put the link in here. I don't have the ability to do that. So
oh yeah. Well, do I not have you as a? Maybe I need to add you as a moderator, and then you could do that if you gave me permission to add you as a moderator.
was that on the YouTube
I think I have to do it.
or does it do that on the StreamYard? Because I'm not a member of StreamYard, so
Yeah, I think I have to. Like, can you post something in the chat real quick so I can see you in
yeah.
there on the YouTube side, TJ? There we go. That works. Hold on here. Oh, daggone. Come on. Trying to get to the three dots, and that one thing keeps coming up, and I can't. Ah, come on. Stop doing that. I'm trying to get that little thing in my bobber to go. Yeah, there we go. Thank
I'm not
you.
an IT person.
Uh, okay. As a moderator,
Really? What does that do?
I'm making you a managing moderator, TJ. So now you should be able to put links in there, and you can also kick people out.
Ah, is West is CK in here?
I don't think he's in here now. I think he did one
I'm
of his.
watching the playback now of me just looking like a mental case.
Yeah, Blissful says you can wrench him.
Let's see if it works. Oh, there we go.
Yep,
If people want to click on that
there
and
you
watch
go.
my short, go ahead. Give me a couple more views.
So TJ is now a managing moderator, so don't piss him off or he'll kick you out. He, he's got the power. Yeah.
I'm always
TJ in blue.
I'm always
But anyway, I wanted to take a look at a little bit of The Exorcist tonight, even though I can't bask in the glory of the Dolby Atmos sound because I'd wake Steve up.
How good is that? I mean, I don't have a setup, so I don't. Does it really different? Like, can you tell?
I think it is. I mean, there might be some people, Wes CK, that might say, "Oh, you don't need that." Depending on the day, he might say, "Oh, it's awesome." Other days, he might say, "Ah, you don't need it."
Yeah.
Um, hey, I'll just call you Dawn. I hate that you came in. We're getting ready to get off here, guy, but or I call
Person.
people guys. I hope that doesn't insult anybody. But yeah, so I guess we'll get off of here for the night. And I want to thank TJ again for being on here with me for yet another horror anthology series. I guess we're gonna keep them coming as long as we can, as long as there's some out there to cover. And
Yeah.
as long as TJ doesn't say, I'm done, I'm through, I'm not doing these things anymore. I thought maybe the end might have come with that that final season of Friday the 13th, the series.
You know, yeah. Roby was still good. It's just
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
and some of those scripts weren't the greatest, but you know, whatever.
No, unfortunately not. But anyway, we're going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. And we'll see everybody on the flip side. And I hope you guys, a lot of you guys, if not all of you guys, can hop on over to Grande's Graveyard tomorrow night to check out me ranking the Evil Dead movies as well as the other two guys ranking the Evil Dead movies. And midday with Dana and Jay and the watch alongs this weekend. Um, and so I'm going to play the outro, my lovely outro that I created that I sometimes forget to use now because it's still new to me. But everybody have a good night. TJ, you have a good night.
You too.
And
Hasta luego.
and I'll see everybody next time. All right.